And we had a manager that was constantly giving the 23-year-old me money to go put on the horses and like before the game started. So I'm throwing BP, catching bullpens, doing the pregame show, running over, betting the quinella on the 1, 3, and 5, and getting back on the air for the game.
Shut up and sit down.
Inside Wisconsin is brought to you by Bay Care Clinic, Cobblestone Creek, the University of Wisconsin-Platteville, Mill Home Supper Club, and Festival Foods.
What's up, Wisconsin? From the Inside Wisconsin studios, my name is Trevor Thomas, back in the baby blue. Look at that shirt. John Anderson, how are you, man?
Let's go Brewer. We are going to be Brewer-centric in this edition. And so just so you're ready for it, right? Like I am ready with some of my best Brewer gear for you as the show develops. And we're going to have even better, as I like to think of it, as the most talented Anderson in broadcasting on the program today, which is nice.
He brings it every single time we get him. And obviously you don't get him all the time. You Google Brian Anderson Brewers, and the very next thing that pops up said, where did Brian Anderson go? Like, we don't get him all the time anymore because he's that damn good.
Yeah, in demand.
Today. He's incredible. How long have you known B.A.J.A.?
Just sort of, well, listen, I listen to him all the time. And I'm trying to think when we first met in person, which wasn't 3 or 4 years ago. I don't know, but I would send notes every once in a while. I had, got a hold of his number to say, hey, you're really good. And like, I like listening to you when we can on the radio or on the TV and that kind of thing. So it's sort of a relationship that dates back a little ways, not deep. But that was in sort of a professional manner there. And then I've gotten to know him a little bit. The first time I was in his broadcast booth, I had gone to a Brewer game. I was just sitting down. I had really good seats thanks to some connections. And he sent a guy down and said, hey, Brian would like to say hi to you in the booth. I'm like, he's working. He doesn't need me and my son. Forget it. He's, so I kind of was like, he doesn't need me. I'm eating hot dogs and he's up there, trying to do a game. But he was insistent and he couldn't have been nicer and it was great. And, listen, I just admire the guy. I think he is really top shelf and top notch, and the Brewers have done well. They searched really long and hard when they made that hire, and boy, did they knock it out of the park with Brian Anderson.
I agree. We can't get to him fast enough. Joining us today on Inside Wisconsin, the Brewers TV play-by-play guy, Brian Anderson.
Shut up and sit down.
And so here he is, the Brewers television play-by-play guy most of the time, and then like for, I don't know, a dozen other sports, Brian Anderson.
I was making a grand entrance.
I love it.
That was nice.
Totally made an entrance.
I look up and I'm like, where'd he go? This isn't supposed to be this way.
Such a small frame for us.
Yeah, we'll fix that for you.
Right.
How are you, man?
I'm good. It's
good
to be with you guys, man. I'm honored you guys asked. I watch this all the time, so I've been kind of waiting. John said we're starting this podcast. We'd love to have you on, and that's been months ago. So I thought he forgot about me.
Well, we started alphabetically. No, wait, that doesn't work either. We knew you were busy between, I think we call you. We started up and you were in the throes of the NCAA tournament. And then you got playoffs, and then you got baseball, and like, who can keep up with the schedule you've got?
Right. That's good transition there. I'm always available for you guys. It's been a cool thing you're doing here, and I love shining a light on the great state of Wisconsin anytime. I wish I had some Wisconsin thing to wear. I'm sorry for that. I should have prepared better. You guys are fully decked out in team uniforms with. Yeah. I see, John, you got your Daniel Vogelback shirt on.
It's him, right?
There he is.
Doesn't that just look? I mean, it's remarkable. Looks just like him, and he's even wearing kind of pinstripes when he comes through there.
Very nice. You got your bobblehead. Excellent.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Like, I haven't looked, but like, what's Vogelback's? What's his steal count this year? I would guess it's maybe. Is he won? Like, was there a double steal? Did he get caught in somewhere?
Not that I remember, but he's had a bad hammy, so we're not asking.
Sure.
Because of the hammy.
Slowed a little bit, but yeah, it's like I've never seen. Right. We don't need to hold him on very closely.
The analytics say it's not a great move right now, John.
Goodness, did the analytics say that this team was going to be destroying the NL Central and get to 30 games above 500. It's been a remarkable run so far into September.
It's the best run I've ever seen. This is my 15th year here. You've been a Brewer fan forever, and so you guys both know the history of this organization. And so they've never had a lead of 11 games ever in their franchise history. So the fact that you have this big lead, you have this great talent, but you're also trying to get in a position where you can set up your rotation, maybe get some guys healthy. All arrows are pointing the right way, and kudos to David Stearns and Matt Arnold in the front office and Craig Counsell. Those guys, from the front office perspective, had some great vision on some guys. And Craig Counsell continues to just kind of flip the script on everybody and every day typically, and you never know how they're going to run a game. And I think all the managers that I talk to around the league, they all tell me that they believe Craig Counsell is one of the hardest guys to manage against. And what a testimony to have that as your hometown guy who is such a cheeser at heart as well. It's a really cool dynamic.
Hey, you mentioned the history of the Brewers. It doesn't take you long to understand that things have been pretty good since BA joined the club in 2007.
That's a good point.
Before that, not such a great run, but 2008 and now beyond, 15 years with Brian Anderson. So whatever unicorn horseshoe you have, leave it there because it's going well for you.
This isn't my first organization that I've turned around significantly. I was with my first year on the air with the San Antonio Spurs was 1999, which of course was the year they won their first of 5 NBA titles. So, I was there for the first 4, and I came here and had this whole philosophy and pretty much changed the way the organization operates here. None of that is true. I had nothing to do with any of that, but I've been very lucky to be a part of some winning teams, both in my prior Brewers life and in my current Brewers life. So it's been awesome. I do see a lot of similarities, though, in how the organization is structured. And a lot of people don't realize that David Stearns was hired while Craig Counsell was already the manager. Craig Counsell was actually part of the interview process. So it's not quite the dynamic of Greg Popovich being head coach, but clearly running the organization. But there is a great connection between owner, GM, manager, or coach in the Spurs case. And I think that's how organizations build franchises to win for sustained periods, because there is no leverage with a head coach or a manager if you don't have that very tight knit connectivity between your bosses all the way up to the owner. And that's what both organizations have. Those are the similarities, and it's easy to see why they've been able to win, because they're all on the same page.
The council thing too is you talked about not only the connection above, but the guys that you're in charge in the locker room. And we were lucky enough, we had Yelich on the field after a game one Sunday. And I had mentioned sort of sometimes, unorthodox, and somehow he had managed to put this team with a bunch of guys at the time that were hitting like 210, and yet they were scoring runs, and he was, masterful with his pitching staff. And he had said, listen, I told him I've got whatever it is, 7 years left in my contract, and he can't leave until that's over. But so much of that is, right, I forget who the guy was that said, half of managing is keeping the 12 guys that like you away from the 12 guys that hate you or whatever, right? Like he has that respect of the room, which is amazing what you can do when you have that kind of faith in the guy who's putting you out there every day, or putting you in a pinch hitter, or putting you in your different roles.
It matters, and it only gets to that point if these players know the structure of the organization, that that guy's not going to be gone if there are mistakes or if it's controversy, and it hasn't always been that case. So I think they know that those who make decisions are well connected. So you're not going to beat around that bush. You're not going to get back channel opportunities there. And, a lot of this shows up in agents, with agents, and, hey, why is this guy not playing? Why is my guy not playing? Because of that connectivity, I do think it does resonate down. And he's earned that. He's Craig Counsell played. He understands how hard the game is. He's great with the media. He's good deflecting from issues that, because these players watch everything. They're digesting. There used to be a day when players were oblivious to anything that was going on, but as a group, but not anymore. They absorb everything. They're watching all the pre and post game shows, all the interviews, everything that shows up on social media. So Council's just navigated that perfectly. And I don't know another manager in the big leagues that has as much equity as he does with a fan base either. I don't ever even remember Council getting booed,
right?
Which is shocking because every manager I've ever known has gotten booed on some level. There are pockets of criticism, I'm sure, out there, but for the most part, he's got a total pulse on everything that is going on here, and that's a good thing because he's really qualified and he's an excellent manager.
Do you notice when you have to miss games, BA, that some of the greatest Brewers moments seem to happen when you're not in the booth?
What?
I mean, we talked about the guy Vogelbach, right? And this jack of a walk-off grand slam last week or the week prior, whatever it was, and you're like, hey, my guy Jeff Levering, great call. And all I can think about was like, BA is pissed that he wasn't there.
I'm not.
Where were you? You were in Boston or somewhere, weren't you?
I was in Boston. In Boston. The only thing I ever worry about with that is a potential no-hitter. That's what scares me the most. And it's not like Levering is fully capable of calling that, as is LePay and Craig Kashan. It's not that. It's just, I've called a few no-hitters, but obviously the Brewers haven't had one since '87, and I've never called a Brewer no-hitter. And Giovanni Gallardo was close a couple of times, and I remember Ben Sheets was close. And over the years, there have been guys that have taken no-hitters. I remember Dave Bush had 2 outs in the 9th inning with a no-hitter once. So that's the only thing that bothers me. But no, man, when I'm gone, I'm able to totally be a fan, and I am a fan of the Brewers, and I'm a fan of the organization. I put on my network hat, and that's easy to do when I'm calling a Brewers game for national TV. But, I'm invested in this organization, and I know all these guys, and I want them to succeed. So for me, it's the opposite. I get to enjoy these moments like a fan would, as opposed to trying to keep it together as an announcer. I was in the airport at Logan flying home when that moment happened. And, I've got my earbuds on. I'm watching the game on my phone and let out a big yelp. And so I'm all in from the fan side of it. So, yes, awesome. The only thing is a no-hitter. But I hear what you're saying, but none of it bothers me except a no-hitter.
It's amazing how quick it can be to be an overnight success, isn't it? To suddenly, he's our guy, and now look, he's on the national stage, and we're like, there's Brian, right? It's crazy how quick it goes.
Who is this guy? My agent calls me a 20-year overnight success.
Yeah, all of us are.
I never dreamed this big, to do all this stuff. And honestly, it's not that I pursued the Brewers heavily, but that was the last job I ever really pursued. Everything else since I got the Brewers job has been me receiving a phone call. I haven't produced a demo tape, which I did every year, twice a year. I got trauma about producing demo tapes because you put in all this work and you're trying to get the right pieces, and is this going to work? Am I going to get? And then you just get slammed. No thanks. We don't need you. So for me, all of this has come because of the Brewers, and really, I thank CC Sabathia every time I see him, because if it's not for CC Sabathia in 2008, which put the Brewers on SportsCenter with you, John, but just about every night, and my calls, and you were responsible for that too. You were playing a lot of the Brewers calls. The folks at Turner Sports, they never even know who I am or hear my voice. And all of a sudden, CC's doing what he's doing, and these calls are everywhere. And it's like, well, who's that? We don't know that voice, or we don't know that name, because I had just gotten to the big leagues in 2007. I worked for Golf Channel. I did 9 years in the minor leagues in San Antonio. So because of CC Sabathia, we're page one all over the country in the sports world. And that year, 2008, Turner needed a play-by-play guy, and then they hired me to do the playoffs. And I tell CC every time I see him, man, you changed the arc of my career. But yeah, I'm very blessed and thankful, grateful I never imagined this when I was sitting on those 9-hour bus rides from Tulsa to San Antonio that, I would ever be doing any of this. But, I've just kind of said yes at every level and just kind of kept going. And I never will leave the Brewers, though, as long as they'll have me. Matter of fact, breaking news, I just signed a multi-year extension with the Brewers to stay here. I'm going to have to do fewer games, but I don't want to leave. And as long as they'll have me, I'll stay a part of it. I'd be a fan anyway. I'd be like you, John. I would be a season ticket holder, and I would go to games. I'm not leaving the city. So I just bought a condo in the 3rd Ward, which I'm sitting in right now. So we're here, man. We love it.
That's good news for all of us. That's terrific and well earned, and congratulations. And as someone who spent not quite 9 years, but 7 years around the Texas League, whew, hey, we got a 6-game roadie in El Paso, which is terrific. Or we're going to go to Arkansas. Trev, you don't know this. Where we're going to play doubleheaders on Saturday because of the blue laws. We can't sell beer on Sunday, so we got to play 2 with the Arkansas Travelers, or you get to go to lovely Shreveport to that Holiday Inn Express, right? Like those, and yet those are the times there is. I'm not sure it's quite as romantic as Bull Durham, but there are some things in there that life is
it's not romantic.
No.
By the way, in Little Rock, my favorite minor league story in Little Rock, we stayed at a hotel called the Markham Inn in Little Rock. It was $15 a night. Maybe 20 rooms, I think. It had 40 rooms. Half the rooms did not have windows in them. They were on the interior. It was a dump. So, and I threw batting practice too. I made $25 a game as a broadcaster, and I threw batting practice for $25 a day. So I threw 2 groups, and I got $1 a bag on the road to pull the luggage off the bus. So believe me, I didn't let the trainer who ran the travel, I didn't let him touch a bag. His name was Matt Wilson. I said, "Don't you dare touch a bag." I got every single bag.
You were
That's
working
a lot of bags, man. That's like a C note. That's 100 bags.
I used to go and I'd shake fly balls on off days. I'd go out and just in Tulsa and play with these guys who are AA guys. And the first summer I'm there, because I'm just trying to kill time, I'm in the outfield with these 2 kids that are literally kids. Now I'm only like 22 or 23, but they're just in the country. They don't speak any English. And this I tell kids all the time: learn Spanish, right? Because it's amazing what you can do. So here are these 2 kids, and we're catching fly balls, and they'll shoot them higher and higher. And now I start to drop them, and I understand the word muerta, right? Like they're telling me I'm going to get killed if I stay out there longer.
Yeah, gringo.
Right? And so, but it's Sammy Sosa and it's Juan Gonzalez. And I think if only if I had been able to speak Spanish to this guy, one's 18, one 19.
Yes.
And make that relationship connection there, as opposed to just kind of, here's the funny guy that's once in a while running around in circles.
Yes.
How different that would be. And I tell people, like, there's nothing, especially those younger ones that you come in, because the minor leagues are nothing but like, wow, I used to know you back when, right? Like, wasn't Alex Cora San Antonio Mission?
He was a shortstop on the same team that Ron Renicky managed. And my brother was on that team. I actually called his games in 1997, and I've been working, him well, Chris Singleton. So I helped Chris Singleton. He wanted to do some games. He's working with us. He played on the 97 Shreveport team that we ended up in the Texas League Championship against. So, yeah, I've known Alex since that time, since 1997. Wow. And Alex hired Ron Renicky as his bench coach because of that moment, that window in time when they got to know each other in the Dodger organization. It's crazy, the connections when you do minor league baseball as long as I did, like just to make connections and know, like, oh, wait, you were there then. And I remember that ballpark at 15th and Yale in Tulsa, and they had the horse track. They had the horse track right next door. Yeah. And we had a manager that was constantly giving the 23-year-old me money to go put on the horses, and like before the game started. So I'm throwing BP, catching bullpens, doing the pregame show, running over, betting the quinella on the 1, 3, and 5, and getting back on the air for the game. Like, I know it sounds all cool, and it does. We make it sound romantic. It was awesome, but it sucked. It was awful. It was hot. Right. I was broke. I had a baby and a wife, and I'm like, what am I doing with my life, man? What a loser I am.
You'd wait for the drillers to get home because I'm like, okay, at least I get fed at the ballpark, right? So you could eat there.
Yeah.
Or you'd wonder, like, how can this guy play? He's got 43 errors. And then you realize he's in El Paso, which is nothing but a rock pile for an infield. So nobody can feel the ball in these, right? And Trevor, I guess, like I'm saying, is you guys down there in Appleton with the Timberwolves, you never had it so good. Like that.
No,
place,
that's sweet.
Come on.
That's sweet.
Yeah, you get to go to Clintonville, Iowa, or whatever. You're living high on the hog, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, make that trip from Tulsa to San Antonio, and then have a game that night. Rolling in at 10 a.m. up all night. I couldn't sleep on the bus, man. So our bus driver would nod off 5 times a trip. And the bus would like, ooh! Everyone's like, what happened? Oh, Raul fell asleep again. So it was my job to sit up there in the front row and like talk to Raul. Hey, Raul, how you doing? Good. You need a soda? No, I'm good. You know, it's like one of my favorite stories is this deer comes running across. We're coming from Midland to San Antonio in the middle of the night, and this deer just comes like scampering across. He slams on his brakes. This giant bus at 2 a.m. And we're like, almost the whole team's on there. We got like bonus babies. I mean, we had like Paul Konerko was on that team. We got big time players. He slams on his brakes in the middle of the night, and John Shelby was the manager, and he wakes up. He's like, Raul, what are you doing? He goes, I saw a deer. He goes, how much do that deer weigh? I don't know. 50 pounds, 80 pounds. He goes, how much do this bus weigh? Run over the deer. It was great. But that's what it was like, man. You were like, I think I may die. I may die doing this job. Lightning bolt hit the foul pole in Midland. My headset went pew, straight off my head.
And now everything's a charter flight.
Now charters and 5-star hotels and
it's ridiculous.
Cars and
pampered like that.
I'm embarrassed even.
Oh my goodness!
I can't even call the people I used to work with. Anyway, did you have a question, Trevor?
Yeah, just let me know when you guys are. This is segment 1, by the way.
Okay, well, let's end segment 1. Let's end segment 1, and we'll come back for segment 2.
Who's in charge here, Trevor?
Doing my best. We're back after this. We're still inside Wisconsin, I swear.
Helpful critiques, ideas, great stories, people we should know, the great bar in your town, the fish fry you want to know, the fish boil, anything that you want to reach out to us with. We are happy. We are here. You can be the inputters. We're here to listen.
Shut up and sit down.
We're back inside Wisconsin with Brian Anderson, John Anderson, Trevor Thomas. Our top 5 list is coming, but you have some not top fivers. I mean, today's list is kind of special.
Right. So the top 5 list is my top 5 Brewer hats that I own, not just the so. But just to give you a hint of like the selection we had to go through. Well, look, first right back here, right, is my Milwaukee Braves hat. We have the all-time worst Brewer hat ever.
Awful.
But I have one because I'm a loyal fan. This is for you. I'm trying to get some of these out of the way. I have the Booyah.
Yeah, we knew that one.
I have a couple of these. That's for you. What do we got here?
Hey, Green Bay Bullfrogs. That's
got your froggies. I'm
Love
always
that.
representing. Should
T-Rex.
always have it. I can go pre-Timberwolves. Are you ready? How many guys have an Appleton Foxes hat?
Appleton Foxes. That's pretty special. Wow. How many hats do you think you own?
You're going to stick just baseball caps or Brewer caps?
Just in general. Like how many of these type of hats do you own?
Hundreds.
Wow, that's awesome.
Hundreds. So we'll get to those. We've got a ways to go before we get to the top 5. But we got a ways to go with Brian Anderson first.
Shut up and sit down.
And enter again with Brian Anderson. Trevor Thomas here on Inside Wisconsin after our reminiscing of the Texas League, which really, if you get a chance, go back. It's probably not the same now, but I know they've reconfigured the league now. I don't know if you get to go to Wichita as much as you used to. And the Missions were the Dodgers, and now that's Tulsa. They've taken over the Dodgers AA franchise. But let's talk about Wisconsin and first big league players. The Brewers have been great, and they've done it with unbelievable starting pitching, which we used to think was maybe sort of a weakness. And they've done it with Christian Yelich just being kind of an everyday average player, not an MVP player. How are they piecing this thing together, Brian Anderson?
Pitching is how they've done it. Willie Adames has been a big part of it. We call it Willie Adames Day if you watch Brewers TV, but May 22nd, they've been an unrecognizable offense compared to what they were the first 2 months of the season. Willie had a lot to do with it. It not only settled him, it settled Avi Garcia. They're very good friends. Adames can become this larger-than-life presence. It's interesting how the I don't know, it'd be a sociological experiment to understand how a guy can have a ripple effect because of a personality. But he would be the guy that I'd want to have that test done because it's been amazing. So he's really settled the offense. It's helped Garcia get better. It's helped Urias get better. It's taken pressure off Yelich. Kane was out when all that was going down. He was injured, so he didn't feel that pressure. So I think there's a lot to that, but none of this happens without extraordinary pitching. The best pitching staff, top to bottom, that's ever been assembled in Brewer franchise history. We'll see how they perform in the postseason, but it is the best pitching staff you could have. Everybody's different in the bullpen. You've got the lockdown three, you got the big three in the rotation, but the other three, the ability to run a 6-man rotation and get this extra rest and have these guys fresh is because of their depth. And that's really the underlying story is they have so much talent that they've been able to totally line this out where relievers never pitch more than 2 days in a row. Starters are on a 6-man rotation. Now, all of a sudden, you're actually developing as the season is going. You're not feeling that burden to be like CC Sabathia and pitch on 3 days rest for 6 weeks. So all of that is part of the depth of the organization and the success of the team.
And it's been a blast to watch, too. I mean, there have been some seasons that are just difficult to turn on and watch for any extended period of time. Not this year. It's been different. I'm curious, BA, we've been to the playoffs. Listen to me, Brewers. Yeah, I'm just going to say screw it. This is how Wisconsin does it. 5 times since you got here in 2007, but only twice. Obviously, 81 and 82 were the only times before 2008. Do you have a game or maybe a set of games that really stand out to you since you've been here the last 15 years?
Yeah, I mean, there are certain windows like when you call on the first memory. You know, I think my first great memory, other than my first game, opening day of 2007, because that was just for me a dream come true, and I had already imagined, you know, for so many years about what it was like to be a big league announcer, and then I'd given up on that dream. I went to the Golf Channel, and just I didn't think I was ever going to do baseball. But that first day was one of my favorite memories. That was the day I ran into Vin Scully at the urinal, and he said, "You must be the new boy." I said, "Yes, sir, Mr. Scully." He goes, "Well, the job's great. It pays well and no heavy lifting," as he's at the urinal. Anyway, but I think 2008 would be one of the first memories. I think two moments in that season. Ryan Braun hit a grand slam against the Pirates of Jesse Chavez. That moment actually became an Apple iPod commercial, which was kind of cool because I'm watching the World Series that year, and all of a sudden an Apple commercial comes on and it's my voice. And I didn't get any money for that, John. I don't know if that's something
happens
that
a lot.
Anyway, so that was one. Braun hit the home run in 2008 against Bobby Howry of the Cubs on the last day of the year. CC Sabathia's moment. So there's a lot of 2008 in there. But then through the years, you know, Yelich's MVP season, there was a moment when Yelich and Braun hit back-to-back homers. That against the Cardinals, that was early in the season. That always kind of stands out. So, yeah, those are probably – I think the day they clinched when Ron Renicky was the manager in 2011, that was a big moment because I had such a close relationship with Renicky from all those years back in the minor leagues. I was really happy for him. And then, you know, Trevor Hoffman's 600th save would be the other one. That was, matter of fact, we just had that anniversary, September 7th of 2010, 11 years ago. He was the first to the 600 save club. So those are probably like, you know, my favorite children in the Brewers world.
That's awesome.
And chasing down the Cubs a few years ago was magnificent too. Of all the things to go ahead and then win the playoff
your
game
guy
in their
Carl Ravitz
ballpark.
got to call that 163. That actually burned me a little bit. So back to your earlier question, Trevor. That became a national game, the tiebreaker, and man, we didn't get to do that game, and gosh, that hurt. But
Bastards. Okay, so you've twice dropped Vince Scully on us. We get it. You rub elbows with greatness. That's awesome.
Yes, I do.
But you sit most every day next to Bob Uecker, or a booth apart. Like that's got to be
separated by a wall and 3 security guards. Yes,
but that's got to be an amazing thing over the 15 years to sort of see that show, that persona. How's he been with you and your role and that relationship?
He's great. The best feeling in the world is kind of like when you feel the sting of that tranquilizer when you walk in his booth and then you wake up from that because they don't want you in there. That's a great,
sure.
When you come back to consciousness,
of freshness,
after they've already taken you out because you're not supposed to be there. That's a great feeling. Uke's been awesome. He didn't talk to me for 6 weeks, when I first got the job. I went and introduced myself and, hey, I'm the new guy. He goes, I know who you are. Okay. And then I left. And then I didn't talk to him for 6 weeks. And I was scared to death of him. I was,
sure,
because I'm pretty good friends with Matt Vasgersian, and Matt was like giving me the whole, hey, Bob Uecker, like, awesome dude, but there's some things you need to know. Okay. Anyway, he didn't talk to me for 6 weeks. So we go out. We were in Miami. And I walked past him on the bus, and he goes, hey, you're a golfer. I said, yeah. He goes, we're playing golf tomorrow. You want to play golf tomorrow? I said, sure. He goes, can you get us set up somewhere? I said, sure. So I called
that would be great.
Night, like feverishly calling all my friends. You know anybody in Miami? Bob Francesco happened to be the head pro at this place, and we went and played. And Uecker, the first 9 holes, I get detailed on the story because it totally changed our relationship. But the first 9 holes, he told me everything. We talked about the organization, the history of the organization, who you can piss off, who you can't. This is important. This guy was here. Context for everything. It was unbelievable for 9 holes. And then we get turned to the back 9. He goes, we're playing the head pro and the club champion at this golf club. And he goes, I think we can take these guys. Because I was playing pretty good back then. I'd come from Golf Channel. I was like a 2 handicap. He goes, I think we can take these guys. So he's like, before I can even say sure, he goes, hey, we're going to take you 2 on. The old guy and the young guy. We're taking you 2 on. So we played them, and I played the 9 holes of my life. I was like 2 under, and we beat him. And thank God we beat him because Bob then immediately, the next day, hey, he can play. And we were best friends, and we played a lot of golf and when he was still traveling. So I'm thankful that he took the time to let me know how it was, but I feel like if I would have sucked at golf that day, we would have never spoken again. And so we've had a great relationship, and he's been really good. He's yelled at me many times. There are some Uecker rules that are involved, and I understand it, and I've never met anybody as famous, a world-class broadcaster. If you heard his call of the Vogelbach Grand Slam, he's 87 years old in year 50 in the booth.
Yeah.
Never trained, never thinks about broadcasting, just does it totally on instincts. He's never taken any kind of broadcasting classes or anything. And he nailed that call so great. I mean, it was flawless in its execution and power and punch and time and space and everything. It's like, that's what we're all trying to get to as announcers. And he just does it because he is Bob Uecker, and he and Vin Scully and Ernie Harwell. For me, that's like the 3 greatest baseball play-by-play announcers that have ever lived, and it's an absolute honor to be around him every day and to hear his humor. He's so funny. It just pours out of him. Even when he's not trying to be funny, he's funny, and it's been like the coolest thing I could ever dream of in my life, to have been able to ride on the 4 o'clock bus with Bob Uecker every day to the ballpark. It's been awesome.
So Uecker is incredibly unique, right, in his position, but so too are what I believe to be Wisconsin fans, or just fans of the Milwaukee Brewers in general. There were 10 winning seasons from 1970 to 2007 when you got here, and there's been 9 winning seasons since.
Mm-hmm.
We're at the bottom of the payroll pretty much, but the fans show up in droves. For a guy that's a Texconsinite, as you call yourself, right? How special is it to be following a team like this in a state, in a city like Milwaukee, Wisconsin?
Yeah, it's a big part of it. I was just happy to get any major league job, so I would have adapted or adopted any team that hired me. But I'm so fortunate that this happened the way it did, because now that I've been in the business a while and I've seen other broadcasters take jobs in markets where it's not important, or it's not nearly as important as it is here. I'll never forget my first year. We pull up to Wrigley Field, kind of rolling down Sheffield. We get off the bus and we enter into the right field gate. And when I got off the bus, this is the first road trip I was ever on. I got off the bus. This is while Euchre is not speaking to me, by the way. So I get off the bus. My self-esteem is all over the map. I get off the bus and some guy yells at me, "Go back to the Golf Channel." And I went, man, the level of passion you have to know that this first-year announcer was at the Golf Channel. I said, this is awesome. This guy is like, he's heckling me about my previous job, and I couldn't believe it. Like, the level of study and preparation that these fans are doing just to throw barbs out, not to mention just being fans. That's when I knew, man, this is special. Like, this place is special. When they started winning at that level, and now we start seeing 3 million fans come through then Miller Park. Wow. I mean, I've never felt that kind of like electricity in your body, that energy coming through a building before. I've called a lot of events in a lot of different venues, but there's still nothing like a closed roof Miller Park, now American Family Field. There's a great, and then the tailgating scene. You know, you think the whole town, the whole city's on fire when you drive up, because there's smoke plumes coming up from all the tailgating. And I'm telling you, man, I don't even know how to say it. I don't have the words. I should, but what I do every year is I bring a group of people from my hometown or from my past to Wisconsin. And I just did it this year with a bunch of my high school friends, and every one of them, when they leave, they go, "This is off the charts. This place is crazy. I had no idea." I had no idea when I was growing up. I barely could find Wisconsin on a map, but it's so good in so many ways, just to live here, to work here, to be a part of the sports scene here. You know, it's why we'll never leave, you know, as long as they'll have us. It's special, man. It's a special place. The music scene here. Summerfest is just blocks away from where I am right now. The music scene, the golf scene, everything that I never imagined would be amazing is amazing here. I grew up in the live music capital of the world, Austin, Texas. And, you know, I love music and I love everything like Wisconsin sports scene. But then there's this whole other cultural side of Wisconsin that nobody talks about or knows about until you experience it and live in it. And then you realize, like, this place is special. I don't know about you, John, like you've lived elsewhere, but I feel like this is kind of Chicago in the 60s. Is what it feels like to me, you know, before it got crazy, huge, and traffic, and it just feels
right.
Still small townish, but still big city-ish.
So give me something, though, that's Wisconsin that still stumps you as a Texan.
The bubbler.
Okay, sure.
I don't get the bubbler. I can't say it. I've tried. It just doesn't.
It's a bubbler.
I laugh every time I say it.
Of course it is. What else would you drink out of?
A water fountain? No. I'm in the bubbler. I don't like Cream City, though. Where do you guys stand on?
No, I don't get it either.
I don't hear anybody using that
ever.
I feel like that.
You guys know where that comes from, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, of course. But who uses that?
There's a lot of cream color.
Right,
Did
but
you ever say
that.
Cream City when you were growing up? Did you go, I'm from the Cream City? No. Nobody says that.
I'm not sure I still would know where to find that on a map, and I've not even been in Texas.
I totally feel like this was something that people from the outside came in and go, wait, it says here in Wikipedia that it's called the Cream City. Let's make every uniform cream, and let's put it on, let's just have a whole thing. It's a marketing thing.
That'll
it's like
be great.
Christmas.
I think we should probably wrap it up with BA here as we get going because he's got a game to call later tonight. We're grateful for his time.
They always have a game. Don't even worry about that. They always have a game.
That's fair. All right. Back to wrap it up with BA. Brian Anderson from the Milwaukee Brewers.
Ideas, great stories, people we should know, the great bar in your town, the fish fry you want to know, the fish boil, anything that you want to reach out to us with. We are happy. We are here. You can be the inputters. We're here to listen.
Shut up and sit down.
We're back inside Wisconsin in between segments with Brian Anderson of the Milwaukee Brewers. I cannot wait for this top 5 list. You texted me and said, we're going to do my top 5 favorite Brewer hats. I mean, and you've got hundreds
that I own.
And hundreds of hats that you own. And you've teased on the show before that you have guys bring you back all-star caps from when they're going to get.
Yeah.
I can't wait for this. I literally have like one, by the way, JA.
That's
is the 2018 postseason hat.
Yeah, that screams bandwagon fan. That screams bandwagon fan.
Stop it. I was there and I had to have it.
But I've told you before, right? Like the Brewers are my thing. That's where I'm at. Yes. So we've shown you some. We've teased a little of what's going on there. Look, we haven't even begun to fight. In addition to the Milwaukee Braves hat that we've got there, we've got some of these here, and these doesn't count the ones that I have in my office, which is another 4 or 5. Wow. So let's see. We'll go quick through here. These are some of the all-star caps, right? So you got.
Are these honorable mentions or are these the top 5?
These are honorable mentions. That's nice. Wow. We like that. This is good. Love that logo.
Wow.
By the way, that's the old school logo because you can tell there's a little white here and not yellow, which is in the new one. And then if you look at the striping on the baseball, it's just got one that goes through. The new one has 2. This I kind of dug when they were in San Diego.
Yeah.
Right? That's kind of unique.
Yeah,
that's from when these 2 were both for the All-Star game when they were in Washington. Those are honorable mention.
Honorable mentions.
Honorable mention. Then you just got to have some backups, right? Just in case you need some of the old ones that you have.
Yep.
All
right.
Those are not game used. These are backups. So here we go. Top 5. Old school spring training camp. Even though that MB logo was terrible, the spring training camp was awesome.
Okay.
How do we feel about that?
State of Wisconsin, the M with the baseball, the gold. Yeah. Okay. I like that hat. That's a sweet hat. I remember that.
Number 5. That's awesome.
Okay. Number 5.
Okay. This is 1978. This is an original. Look how bad it is. The Roman Pro. That's an original 1978 Brewers cap. That's from my youth. I don't know. I don't dare put it on my head. I don't think it'll fit anymore, but that was my first Brewers cap under that logo.
No beating that logo. That original M and B.
Great. So then I have the most current one. I know it's not fitted. It's just, but that's that's the navy though, right? So that's the new one. Again, you can tell. So now we're all yellow in here and the different there. So this
different baseball, I think.
This is what I wear basically all the time. This one's rarely off my head. If it's not this one, oddly enough, I wear a St. Louis Blues cap. We have that. So this is the old one. But look, this I like just because it's got some wear in it.
Yeah.
1989, old school logo. As you can see,
is number 2.
That's not white as it used to be. That's got some wear in it. So that's number 2. And then the all-time favorite, strictly because of how much I've worn it. Like, look at how horrible this thing is.
Oh, the sweat stains in that.
Right? Like, so you can't give that up. Just look at this disaster.
Oh, my gosh.
There it is. That is my all-time favorite Brewer hat. I'm not sure it's my favorite logo, but just in terms of all-time Brewer hat, that thing has got in it days and days and days of wear on it.
Do you still wear that? You do.
Oh, yeah.
Wear that.
Look at that.
Wow.
Because it fits perfect.
There's more salt in that than the ocean, it looks like.
Oh, are you kidding? Like, you could wear this on a motorcycle ride as actually a helmet. That would work. Yeah, you wouldn't need Bell or whatever. This thing could go, and it's right there. But look how beautiful that thing is.
I think that M used to be white. Am I wrong?
The whole thing used to be blue and white, and I have no idea what it is now.
It is not those colors anymore.
But that right there is, and that's how everybody's hat should look. It shouldn't look like this one we're trying. Right? It's trying, but right now that's just too nice still. We got a little wear on it, but it'll come. These things don't happen overnight. They take years.
That's awesome. And every time you bring that out, I'm certain Tam goes, will you just get rid of that thing?
No, because usually when I put it on, that means I'm going to do something useful that will benefit her.
All right.
The lawn's going to get mowed, or I'm going to hang something in a garage, or I'm going to clean something up, or use a wheelbarrow. There's that usually means there's something good that's going to happen.
Oh man, that's outstanding. Well, that is I think our best top 5 list so far. Man, and the hats the honorable mention hats that are laying on the floor next to you. Jeez.
I got extras. You got one. If that goes away, you're bald.
I have a couple. Give me a break. I have this one. That's that postseason hat, and of course the one that lives on the set here.
All right, you got two.
And I've had more than that over the years. All of those are either originals, the original like glove and ball. I mean, I think back to my childhood. By the way, I don't think I saw the M and the B in that logo till I was in my 30s. It was just I just never saw it. Do you remember? I mean, maybe you saw it right away. Maybe I was. Yeah. Maybe that's just.
And then the original one, the original hat was just a gold M that, was there with Boomer Scott in 1970. I had one of those. I was at a Brewer game. I took it off for some reason while I was dressing my dog with Secret Stadium sauce. I don't know. I didn't take it off for reverence out of the Secret Stadium. And then I walked away and I left it there.
Oh,
so I don't have. So I had the original one, which is, but so that'll be the next purchase I make when I go to Fanatics and start to pour it in.
Maybe a listener or a viewer out there has one of those that they'd be willing to part with. We'll see.
Got it.
All right,
that's
a hell of a list. Back to BA.
Shut up and sit down.
We are back inside Wisconsin. Trevor Thomas, John Anderson, and Brian Anderson, and there he is. BA, we've talked a lot about Wisconsin is a special place. You're from Texas, though, and let's be honest, the climates are different. So what about Wisconsin winters do you love the most? We'll go there.
That's a nothing. That's a nothing on that. You know what? Here's what I love about it. When we moved here, my daughter was in 2nd grade. I love the fact that we had basements and we all it kind of bundled us together and we sat by the fire and we watched it snow. We wondered if we were going to die because I'm looking out the window and I haven't lived in snow ever. And I go, this looks like the Discovery Channel outside. Are we going to, do we need to stock up on food, canned goods?
Sure.
But I actually have come to love Wisconsin winters because I don't know. I think it's in order to understand and feel and enjoy and love the summers and the sun, you have to go through the part when it's taken away from you. So I don't know. I'm very philosophical about Wisconsin winters. There's no such thing as bad weather, I heard, just bad clothing. Once I figured that out,
Fair.
I was good.
Fair. You also talked a little bit about Wisconsin nostalgia and how the Brewers are our team. There was, 2-3 years ago when we went back to the old, this hat, the old ball and glove hat, right?
Yeah.
When they relaunched that, Craig Counsell put out a video that said, "We did this for you. I'm one of us," and so on. I mean, how much do you feel that with as close connected as you are to the team? Because for a guy that grew up here, when this came back, I about lost it. It was
that was a great move, and the whole strategy behind that and implementing all of the different logos into some of the auxiliary logos that they have was a really cool idea. Yeah, I feel it. I do feel, I hate to say this because I don't want to be presumptuous, but I do feel part of this culture and this community because of that. And because there is such a great connection to their teams here. And I have that now too. I'm a huge Packers fan, huge Bucks fan, the Admirals, Wisconsin, Marquette. I'm all in. I want all those teams to succeed. So I do feel it. I think it's very similar to being a Texan. We're pretty nationalistic down there in Texas. Everything's better in Texas. And I do sense that in a much nicer, more polite way. But I sense that in Wisconsin as well, that, this is like, we don't need you to enjoy Wisconsin. We don't need you to come give us praise. We're good the way we are. If you don't like it here, that's a reflection on you. It's kind of where I stand with it.
You are the first Texan I've ever met that his lifelong goal isn't to go back to Texas in some way.
No, I'm done with that.
Yeah, you're the first.
My family's there, but I'll visit, but I have no interest in living there, especially now. No chance.
It's awesome.
No, I love it here.
All right, John, lightning round it up, man.
Well, first I was going to say, between the old logo and the white Miller Lite can, Trevor's living his best life right now. He just never wants to leave. He just never wants to leave the house.
I
That's
love
all he
that
needs
white
in
Miller
life.
Lite can. I'm pissed off I don't have one back
Well,
here.
here's
I have a
the-
Liney Summer
Thank God.
Shandy. That's
So you're
it.
telling me you've never had to wear this hat?
Oh,
Look at that. Yuck.
that's a bad logo.
That's the worst hat in the history of the world
That's a bad
ever.
Ever.
Yeah.
All right,
Who do
yeah,
you think of? What player do you think of when you see that hat, Jay?
Jeff Cirillo, I do.
What about Johnny? Who are you?
None of them. It was I don't know.
Russell
Was Fernando Vina on that squad?
Yeah.
Richie
Yeah.
Sexton?
My former colleague Jeremy Burnitz, I think, might have worn
Yes,
that hat.
He was
I
on that. Yeah.
don't know.
Jeez.
I've tried to forget it. So, all right. So you met Euchre. We'll go quick. You ever met Hank Aaron?
Yes.
Yeah,
Many
fantastic.
times.
Right?
Being in the presence of the Pope. There's a picture in the press box at American Family Field of me and Rock and Hank Aaron. It's one of my favorite images ever, just to be able to sit with him. And he came on the air with us all the time when he would come to town. Yeah, that was a big loss.
Okay, so you've named the ballpark, but I want how long did it take you to actually so that Miller Park does not come out of your mouth? You still have to think about it.
Yes. Every time I wrote it down, put it on a card, and there's a giant sign in center field, and I literally look at it every day I'm on the air. Every day. As I'm going to commercial, I physically move my eyes from the monitor to the sign. American Family Field.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because
It's amazing.
I said Miller Park. I heard Euchre said it way more than me, which made me feel better. But the first 2 months, we had to put $5 in a jar every time, and I was losing everything.
Swear jar.
Yeah.
You probably can have a favorite player, but does your daughter Madeline have a favorite Brewer?
No, not a sports fan really, but she did like Ryan Braun. He was always really nice to her when she was ever around. She also used to babysit Prince Fielder's kids, which is kind of funny. So, but no, no favorites. No favorites come to mind.
Give me the best road broadcast booth.
Road broadcast booth. I would go with a tie, the Mets and the Giants. Mets and Giants.
City
And
Field.
I'll give the advantage to the Giants because Dwayne Kuiper and his brother Jeff, the producer, are Wisconsin guys, so they win.
Yeah. Yeah, and quite frankly, if you look past the outfield wall, the view's a lot better in San Francisco than it is in Queens. It's not even close.
I lose perspective of the game. Our PR director comes in often when we have a good inning that we've entertained him, Rock and I.
Right.
He'll come in and say, "Hey, you guys are moving up to number 3." he literally grades us on the Mets Giants scale. So what a jerk.
What a jerk. Give me the guy at Turner who's got the deepest pockets. You're like, he'll pick up dinner.
Oh, Barkley, no question. Easy.
Yeah.
He's the best. He's the greatest. I've never paid for anything. I actually paid for golf once before he got there, and he was really mad at me for a week. Really mad. And don't ever do that again.
Right.
Don't ever do that again. This is my club.
Right.
Which it's not.
Have you ever the same? Because every time he sees my wife, he goes like, "What? Are you still hanging with this guy? What are you doing? You making bad life choices, right?" I don't know if he does that to you, but he does it all the time.
He's the greatest.
Give me
one
a
of the
break.
greatest human beings I've ever been around in my life.
Finally, you've been in a press box. Have you ever been in a deer stand?
Oh, sure.
Okay, good.
Yeah, I've been snipe hunting. Have you been snipe hunting?
Please, come on now. So did you tip cows
I have
too?
100% been snipe hunting, and I love that John has no clue what the hell that is.
Yes, I do.
I don't.
Trevor likes to Trevor thinks he's going to stumble on something I don't know, and that hasn't happened yet. And
Really
it's not gonna
trying, though.
happen.
God.
Yeah, I grew up in Texas, unfortunately.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not a hunter, but I grew up in an apartment. But my hunting experience, we were hunting raccoons,
Yep.
and I shot the coon out of the tree. And apparently, you're not supposed to shoot him between the eyes, which I didn't know, because he fell down, and then there was no fight, and then the dogs were all mad at me because they didn't get to wrestle with the raccoon, which. Maybe that has to be edited, but that was the last time I went hunting.
Yeah. Snipe hunting, I'm in on it. Yeah. How about frog gigging, Trevor? You're a frog gig? That's a real
That
thing.
one I
too.
don't know.
Yeah, that's how you actually go hunt a frog if you want that.
Gig 'em.
Frogging. Yeah,
And then fry them up in the pan, as Boo Weekly would say.
Give me the last thing I want to know is what's your favorite all-time tavern of the game?
I think they're all great. Gosh, I can't. You put me on the spot. I wish I'd have known this question was coming. There was one that was like very double entendre, and I can't remember the name. And it was just hearing Rock read it, I couldn't breathe, and I can't remember what it is. Damn it! I'm gonna have to.
You can text it in.
I will think of it, and I will tweet a response. But it was something like "High Hard One" or something. I can't remember what it was.
Oh, by the way, that's unique too, along with Euchre and the logo, right? The Tavern of the Game. I know people that will send me a text like, "Have you seen tonight's Tavern of the Game?" They like it's one of the best things going.
And everybody thinks Rock chooses those, so I constantly bust his chops about it. Like, hey, well, which one you going with tonight? And then people are all mad because he's like, "Oh, you picked that one last week. We just had Oconomo walk."
Literally last night he read it, or the night before, and BA goes, "Where'd you pick that one, Rock?"
He gets so much blowback for the Tavern of the Game because they think they're leaving him out. You know, it's classic. So classic.
Hey, brother, thanks for your time. You are a great listen. As you know, as people that sit around in this business where I am, we get umpteen games a night, and you get cynical, and you just sit around waiting to look at things that you can nitpick and go, that guy is terrible. It's like watching umpires. There is never a complaint in SportsCenter's newsroom when you come on. We will find the Brewer feed first and foremost. You're great. I hope you are here 50 years like you, even if you don't want to be here. But it's terrific. You represent us well. You're great to listen to on Turner and all the things, and all the success you've had sort of shines well on us in the organization. Congratulations. And I'll never say anything bad about your Golf Channel work either. I thought it was great. I don't think we need to insult you about that.
Some of my best work. I appreciate that, John. You guys, appreciate being with you, and keep this going, man. This is a lot of fun. I think people are really digging it.
Cheers, BA. Thanks a lot. Go Brewers.
All right, Trav. Yes, sir.
Shut up and sit down.
JA, there's a song, I believe it's called Brewers Fever, right? Where it's the old school stuff. It's on YouTube. Look it up. I friggin' love the Brewers. They're on fire. Brian Anderson was unbelievable. That was great.
Right. I think we should have JA and BA as either A, co-hosts, and we're going to force you out.
Hey.
And you'll just be the guy that runs the whole operation, right? Be the brains and the money behind the operation, which isn't a bad deal. Nobody will yell at you. Or we might have to make 2 shows. Usually we go every 2 weeks. Maybe we cut something up and we send like a special, an EP edition, for the week in between there. Cause he's just so good. And oh my gosh, we'll have to have him back because how many stories does he have that we didn't even get to?
And the content that's clearly going to hit the cutting room floor if we're going to do it, get it into 1 episode. Maybe it's 2. Who knows? Watch for it.
The man hauled bags off the bus for $1 to make money, right?
The bus to Wendy's.
I tell you, but it tells you what people talk about the passion they have for the job they do. And if you have that passion when you're in AA baseball, the fact that he still has it, right? Because it'd be easy to go, wow, I've made it. And now I'm like, look at me, I'm national and I'm recognized as one of the best local guys. It'd be easy to shut it down. And the fact that he doesn't, and he's that quality all the time makes us really a fortunate organization, a fortunate state that guy, you can turn your radio dial or your TV and listen to him, and with you too. You can listen into these guys. We are really, really fortunate to have him, and just a great listen. And like I said, we need to just have maybe a BA story hour where we just say, "Here, go," and you and I will sit and listen.
Well, he gets us. And obviously we get him. We're jacked to have him here on Inside Wisconsin. And all of you get this. You guys are onto this with what we're trying to do to bring you the people, the stories, and the Statriotism of America's Dairyland. Make sure to subscribe here on YouTube. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. We're on TikTok now. Do you have a TikTok, John? Are you on the TikTok? No? Didn't think you were. All right. Also, really appreciate it.
I can't believe you asked that question.
I didn't really answer it. You sat there in silence. I knew you didn't have it. founding partners mean the world to us. We could not do this without their support, so please support them. As always, for John Anderson, my name is Trevor Thomas. Until next time, as you were, Wisconsin, that hat. Look at that hat.
Inside Wisconsin is brought to you by Baycare Clinic, Cobblestone Creek, the University of Wisconsin-Platteville, Mill Home Supper Club, and Festival Foods.
Shut up and sit down.